Oh, man. Oh, man. You know, last summer, I let y'all knew, some of y'all who follow the channel know I'm a sports guy. I'm an NFL fan. I'm a Washington Commanders fan. I'm an NFC East Division fan. NFC fan. I'm all teams DC and Maryland on some level fan, right? So if you from my region, I got your back unless you playing my main squad. I'm a basketball fan, all of that. You can't tell right now because I'm chubbed out. But I played competitive basketball. I played in a semi-pro league a couple times. I played real competitive basketball. I love basketball. So last summer, the NBA has actually been dropping in ratings. And I think let me tell you why I think this is happening and why the WNBA blew up a la Caitlin Clark. Here's what's happened. If you ask a lot of people why is the NBA dropping in ratings, depending on who you ask, you'll hear the NBA got too woke or too political, whatever. They usually target LeBron James. Remember, shut up and dribble or whatever the lady Laura Ingraham said that, right, from Fox News. There's a sense where things have changed. And some people say, well, the NBA got too woke. But the NFL is leading in all the sports ratings, and the NFL was the one who started it with Colin Kaepernick and kneeling. We gotta put this woke thing to bed. It's dead now. Listen, that thing has embalming fluid in it. It's dead, fam. We've moved on. We're on something else right now. Let me tell you what I think happened with the NBA. And this happened to a lot of things. COVID. Let me tell you what happened during COVID. COVID, we all were in the house. We were looking at social media a ton because this is what we have to remember, right? We're human beings. Let me back up. We're human beings. We biologically have, in the way God has created us, we have things in our brain that stimulate, right? And that react to pleasure. One of those things is called dopamine, right? A lot of the things we do, whether you know it or not, are because of dopamine. You got dopamine hit. You get dopamine hits when you experience pleasure or moments of joy or things that feel good. You get a dopamine hit. And that dopamine hit doesn't only just help you appreciate it and understand it, but it makes you crave that pleasure again. This is what happens when people get addiction. The desire for dopamine becomes so strong that you're reacting biologically, right? If you're a Christian and the Bible talks about we are fighting against the world, the flesh, and the devil, we are literally fighting against our flesh because we get dopamine hits out of things that are actually sinful and we want to do those things again, right? So in 2020, when COVID came, right, we were all under pressure. A lot of people thought they were going to die. It was the first time many people thought about dying, which was ironic because earlier that year, February of 2020, Kobe Bryant and his daughter died in a helicopter crash, and the whole world was kind of mourning his death. And then a month later, we were locked in. It was like, hey, there's this disease called COVID-19 out, coronavirus, whatever. And you may die if you get it, right? We were locked in the house. We were watching social media like crazy. Everyone was on TikTok watching it. And this is what blew things up because we needed dopamine. We couldn't go out anymore. We couldn't do anything. You started getting fatigued from watching things too long. We were Zoom. If you had stock in Zoom, you became a billionaire. Zoom blew up. DoorDash, Uber Eats, and all these places, they blew up because no one was going anywhere, right? We were stuck in the house and we were bored. We were getting edgy. We needed something and so social media gave us dopamine hits. And by needing to get sort of dopamine hits from things like social media, our attention spans dropped from here to here, right? Like prime example, one of the challenges of my particular channel and videos is that I make content and then I go to the comment section and 95% we go to the tape and I interact with the comments, which adds another 30 minutes to my videos. So my videos are like an hour plus long. When someone sends me a link like, hey, check out this video, and that joint's an hour long, I'm like, man, I ain't watching this joint. or I'm going to put it on almost twice the speed if the content I think is there. So I think, man, people are probably like, I'm not listening to this chubby dude talk for an hour plus, even though half the video is talking to y'all in the comment section. All right? In the tape. But the reality is, we took a major hit to our ability. We all just, I mean, again, don't get me wrong. ADHD is a real diagnosis. One of my sons has it, and it's real. So I say this not to make fun of people who have it, but to use sort of a cultural reality that we can relate to. We all got ADD on some level because our attention spans, we needed more dopamine. We're in the house. We can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. We need more dopamine hits, right? So all of a sudden we're watching it, and then, we start looking at sports, and then it's like, NFL, 16 games, now 17, short season. We start looking at NBA, 82 games plus playoffs, short season. Baseball, 106. No one's watching all baseball games a ton. Do you watch the playoffs and the World Series? Regular games, no one really, it's too many games, right? We don't have a high tolerance for time. And there's too many games to follow. The NBA has too many games. And so college began to take off again. And then all of a sudden, last year, because of what happened in the college girls game, with really Caitlin Clark and whoever she was playing, whether it was Angel Reese or Dawn Staley in South Carolina, this girl, Caitlin Clark, captured our attention. And it was largely because, listen, she's a good basketball player. There's a ton of good female basketball players. There have been some. Going back to Cheryl Swoops, Swoops, or whatever, even though she was like a villain last season towards Caitlin Clark, there are good basketball players that have been around for a long time. It's not new. But Caitlin Clark brought something different because Steph Curry made the three-point shot more exciting than many dunks. And now we see a girl who is shooting the lights out from like half court, stepping over half court, right? So we're following her college career. Then she goes to the WNBA. The WNBA is only from like around May through like September. It's 4 months. Short season. 12 teams, now 13, 12 teams. This girl, Caitlin Clark, captured our attention. She's phenomenal. And I said this before in previous videos. What Caitlin Clark did last year was what social media in general did in 2020. It gave us dopamine hits. It gave us something to distract us from the madness that was happening in the world at the time. In 2020, everyone was so focused on social media because you thought if you touch the wrong thing, you're going to die from COVID, right? So social media clips, that's why that's why George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, all that stuff blew up because everyone was paying attention because we had nothing else to watch. We had nothing else to pay attention to. Legacy media, regular TV shows, we wanted dopamine hits that fed us quickly. Well, Caitlin Clark became 2024's dopamine hit, and then couple that with Kendrick and Drake beef around the same time. Those were the two dopamine hits that hit us, for many of us, last year, right? Caitlin Clark became a household name because she was a phenomenal player. And when you watched her play, even the people didn't like her, you still watched her play because you hadn't seen a woman shoot like that before. Now, people went in all different directions. Oh, because she's white, it's pretty privileged, all this stuff. I'm not covering all. I said all that before. So now, she has a phenomenal season. Indiana Fever. She was picked early. I think she was number 1 pick last year. They had 2 number 1 picks in a row. Leah Boston the year before. Indiana ends up going to the playoffs despite having won a total of 5 games in the previous 2 seasons. They go to the playoffs. They lose first round against Connecticut Suns, who they had a lot of beef with. Dejanay Carrington did not like Caitlin Clark. And her partner, Nalissa Smith, played with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark brought so much attention to the WNBA that girls were jealous of her because they were as good or thought they were as good or wanted to be the one who made everyone watch. And it was the white girl from Iowa that did it. Their season ends and everyone's like, man, we can't wait to see her again. Kind of like me I'm a Commanders fan. Jaden Daniels, what a phenomenal season we had. We are not disappointed we lost to the Eagles in the NFC Championship. Truth be told, we shouldn't have gone to the Super Bowl. I didn't even want us to go, even though you want your team to win every game. I didn't want us to go. Jaden Daniels was our Caitlin Clark. It was phenomenal. And I mean, in fact, the whole country was talking about Jaden Daniels. This time, he's my quarterback. That's my quarterback. He's on my team, right? So Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. Can't wait to see her again, right? She's off the radar. No one's really talking about Caitlin Clark that much. Having said all of that, now, Caitlin, we're back. We're back. We're back. I mean, first of all, what in the world is happening in the world of basketball? What in the world? This is a Caitlin Clark video. We're going to get to that one second. What in the world is happening in basketball? I love basketball, too. I used to play this sport. You can't tell now. I know I'm chubbed out. I get it. But I used to play heavily. Seriously. Played semi-pro in the league a couple times. What in the world is happening? How in the world does Luka Doncic get traded to L.A. for Anthony Thompson, and then De'Aaron Fox is now at the Spurs with Wemby? And what's happening? LeBron didn't even know this was happening. Luka Doncic just bought a $15 million home in Dallas and didn't know he was getting traded. The owner of the Mavericks, Mark Cuban, didn't know it was happening. The GM did it. That GM, and there were people outside of the stadium mimicking a funeral because they feel like Dallas got smacked, I think, last night by the Cleveland Cavaliers. So what's happening? I don't know what's happening right now. We thought the drones in the sky were weird. It's now hitting sports. There are drones in the sports that are aliens. Something's happening. So that's happening. Well, the WNBA is now, it's a talk of the town, the sports town. And largely because of Caitlin Clark, not the only one. There are a lot of good basketball players, don't get me wrong, people who like, you're just talking about Caitlin. No, but she drew the attention. She drew the attention. Angel Reese didn't draw the attention in the same way. Angel Reese is a media personality, much better. Caitlin Clark I don't even know, she doesn't fancy herself on social media. Well, in the last 2 or 3 days, Caitlin Clark is winning the WNBA championship this year. Listen, she's winning the WNBA championship this year. This is no hyperbole. This is This is prophecy. I don't even bet. I don't bet. I don't know if it's, some Christians in the early days used to draw straws, used to like cast lots, and that's kind of like betting. I don't bet, but I may throw a couple of dollars on FanDuel or one of them, whatever them joints are, right? Them sport betting apps. Because they go, listen, Caitlin Clark and Indiana Fever shook up the WNBA. And I can tell you right now, it seems like the league is adjusting to Caitlin Clark. Let me explain what I mean. The Connecticut Sun, which went second, they went pretty deep into the playoffs. They lost their whole starting five, including their head coach. Never in the history of a sport have teams given up a team that went deep in the playoffs, that looked like they could be a year or two away from winning the chip. The whole starting five is gone. Dejanay Carrington is down in Dallas. Different players all over the place. Their coach, Stephanie, she's now the coach of the Indiana Fever. Everything's going crazy. There are all these trades. All of a sudden, Kelsey Plum is leaving the Las Vegas Aces and going to the Los Angeles Sparks, and all this stuff. And you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then over the weekend, you hear these blockbuster acquisitions by the Indiana Fever, which make it clear they're not waiting to develop and win. Indiana Fever is being aggressive, and they are putting around Caitlin Clark the players that are going to have. She's going to win the chip this year. Whatever she didn't win in college, that everybody, Angel Reese was doing all of that, she's going to win now. Because unless the Lord strikes these people down, they just created a new team that is ridiculous. Let me show you what I mean, because you think I'm just talking out the side of my neck. Let's look at this real quick. All right, here's what happened. This lady, Alexa Philippou, is like the Don Corleone of women's sports, right? Especially women's basketball. Listen to what she put yesterday. Breaking. 6-time All-Star and WNBA champ, DeWanna Bonner, who played for, with her partner, Alyssa Smith, or Alyssa Thomas. I'm sorry, Alyssa Thomas. They play for Connecticut Sun. Says DeWanna Bonner is signing with the Indiana Fever, sources told. By re-signing Kelsey Mitchell, who we know, if you're an Indiana Fever fan, Kelsey Mitchell was a dog. They were the Splash Sisters, for real. She was the Klay Thompson, Splash Sister. Kelsey Mitchell, they traded for Sophie Cunningham from Phoenix Mercury. Sophie Cunningham was a beast. She's energetic. She can hit the three. She was a beast. I mean, she was playing with Diana Taurasi and them. That team has gotten shooken up a little bit. People have let. I mean, it's crazy right now. All these teams are readjusting, I think, to respond to what's happening because the Indiana Fever are going for it. So they got Sophie Cunningham. They re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. And they signed veterans, DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard, fam, from the Dallas Wings. Natasha Howard was down low. I think she's like 6'4". She was down low. She averaged 17 points a game. 17 points a game, fam. Let me make sure you understand what I'm talking about. She's down low. DeWanna Bonner is like 6'4", long, lengthy. Sophie is like kind of like Lexi Hull. They play the wing. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But she is, it's incredible. It's incredible. Let's look at some of the, just so you know what I'm saying, because I'm not saying this as a fanboy. Look at this. The Indiana Fever lacked playoff experience from last season. This is I Talk Hoops, a Twitter page. But they've addressed that in a big way, adding DeWanna Bonner, who averaged 15 points per game with Connecticut, Natasha Howard, who averaged 17.6 points and almost 7 rebounds a game with Dallas, and Sophie Cunningham, who was 8.4 points per game with Dallas. Between them, they bring a combined 155 playoff games of experience, with Bonner and Howard each winning multiple championships. That kind of veteran presence was a major need. Now the Fever have a proven trio to help support Aaliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, and Kelsey Mitchell. Oh, man. Oh, Sherman. Caitlin Clark is going to win. She's winning the chip. I don't bet, but I may place a bet. Listen, this is like crazy. The term player hater is going to have a new meaning because it's going to be, again, this is what happens. Caitlin Clark comes in, right? And then all these changes happen, right? Stuff that the women have been, to some degree, rightfully so, wanting for a long time. Caitlin Clark shows they get chartered flights. They get all this attention, right? They're getting media attention, new media contracts. Everyone, all of the Indiana Fever games were sold out in live and then were on television somewhere. I watched the vast majority of them, except a few places where they wanted me to buy an app and get a subscription just to watch the game. I was like, look, I banged with the girl, but I ain't going like that, right? So I missed 3 or 4 games last season because of that. But I watched almost every game. Sold out arenas all over the place, right? Drew attention. Now, all these veteran players, people are coming to play with her. New coach who loves her. Caitlin Clark is going to be unleashed. But this time, she's going to be playing with the best supporting cast ever. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. How they go? Kelsey Mitchell's a bucket. She drops buckets. DeWanna Bonner she was putting up 15 last year. The other 17 points a game, like Natasha Howard. They're going to be averaging over 100 a game clean. They're going to be blowing people out because they're going to play fast ball. All of these women like to run, right? Then you got Lexi Hall. Look at this picture. Look at this photo they put up. This is the photo they put up. Look at this photo. Here is the photo. Look at this. They're just letting you know right now. This is going to be the new team. Now, this might not be the new starting five because I don't know if they're going to start Sophie Cunningham over Lexi Hall. It'll be interesting to see, right? They'll probably let Lexi Hall start and Sophie come off the bench and play some good minutes, right? But Natasha, this is ridiculous, fam. This is ridiculous. And everyone sees it. Everyone's reporting it. Caitlin Clark, this is ridiculous. Oh, they're going to be the team to watch next year. With that being said, here's going to be the main problem. There's always a problem. Main problem, some of it's obvious, some of it won't be, right? Main problems will be one, they got to learn how to play together. Like you're talking about now, Natasha Howard, she had a crazy point guard that was dropping buckets. So she's used to having somebody that can shoot the lights out and get her points. But they got to learn how to play together. But here's the thing. It's one thing when you bring in a Caitlin Clark to a young team who doesn't know how to play. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell was one of the veterans, maybe 5 years in the league, 6 years. She was one of the veterans. Like she did, Leah Boston was only her second year. There was a young team. Now you're bringing in two veterans, DeWanna Ball and Natasha Howard, who have won chips, who are veterans, been playing for a minute. They got to learn how to play together, but it's going to happen quick because veterans get it. They're not there to try to say, hey, I want the ball goes to me. They know Caitlin Clark is the star, but the way we're going to play, we're going to get our points, right? But it's going to be a problem. They got to play together. They got to get that timing together, which I think they're going to make it connect. Here's the other main problem, I think. I think Caitlin Clark was hated last year because she was the one that brought attention to the WNBA in ways that other women felt like they earned the right to be the one that brought attention. I get it. I'm not even. I don't agree necessarily, but I get it. Right? I think Asia Wilson, monster. Some monsters in the WNBA. Monsters. Ridiculous. I get it. But I think this year, player hater will have a new meaning. It's going to be you hate this particular player again. Because now it's clear that the Indiana Fever are not developing Caitlin Clark. They're trying to win year 2. They're going to be sold out again every game. I think Natasha Howard, if I'm not mistaken, said one of the reasons why she wants to play because she wants more notoriety. You know, she's not doing commercials and all of that. These people are getting like endorsement deals because they're playing with Caitlin Clark. This girl is a cash cow. She's capitalistic. She's the American dream in a person. She's got money. She's got endorsements. And the people around her get those things. They're going to be crazy. And a lot of players are going to even be more jealous because it's clear they're trying to really make her win. And there were other people that didn't like that already. So you just put together a potential, they got to learn how to play together, a potential powerhouse of a team with two veterans like DeWanna Bond and Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, who was a lightning rod, right? Caitlin Clark, who's fired up. You know the other problem? Who's going to, like Caitlin Clark's the leader, but Sophie Cunningham has no problem being like, let's go, and getting people hyped. That's usually what Caitlin Clark does. There's going to be like, they know that this is her team. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Because Sophie Cunningham is a personality. Caitlin Clark's personality. You got Aaliyah Boston down there in the middle, but now you got Natasha Howard, who's probably better than Aaliyah Boston, for real. Down low. Then you got some people coming off the bench. You know, Damaris, she's a little slow, but she can come in. I don't know what they're going to do with Katie Lou, if they're going to keep her or not. They waived Grace Berger, I think. She didn't play that much anyway. She let her go. And they waived someone else on their team. But they just stacked the deck. And you got arguably the most exciting WNBA player. I didn't say the best. I don't think she's better than Asia Wilson yet. But the most exciting WNBA player in Caitlin Clark. She didn't play in the Unrivaled League, which I thought was brilliant on her part. She's been working on her game. She's box office. Everyone's going to want to see her play next season. And boy, does she have a squad with her. Oh, man. So for all the people that were like, oh, you're just covering her because you can say whatever you want. But I'm telling you, come June, I'm going to be right back to talking about, okay, this is on my channel. This is the thing. On my channel, everyone has a niche, right? And they just say the same thing. And that's how you really grow a channel, to be quite honest. I know some channels that just talk about false teachers, that just talk about this. You just grow a channel by just the same content every single time. That's it. I talk about everything. I don't even care. If my channel doesn't grow, if I don't get this, okay. I'm talking about whatever. I love sports. I love God. I love culture. I love music. I'm talking about everything. I cannot wait to cover the Indiana Fever this fall. They're going to be phenomenal. Phenomenal. And I think, oh man, they just put together a squad that's like, and that's the game today. I'm old school. I'm from the Jordan days when you just had to develop your team and win. Even Steph Curry and them, Kevin Durant played for them, but they won a chip before he came. Right? And they won the chip after him. I'm from that, but in this day and age, you buy your teams. Hey, so we put this player with this player, they can win. That's how you do it now. That's a whole different conversation. But the Yankees did that. The Yankees would buy their teams and then win these World Series. They would buy these players, best player on this team, best player on this team, and they would win the World Series. I think the Indiana Fever just put together a squad of veteran. And when you're a vet, you want to go out like Natasha Howard, DeWanna Bonner. They've never gotten the accolades that like Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and them have gotten. Let's be clear. Kelsey Mitchell didn't get good this year. She was tough, but it wasn't until she was the second splash sister with Caitlin Clark, because that's where all the attention came. There's going to be more attention on Caitlin Clark, and there are going to be more players angry at her because she's the one drawing attention, and it's gearing up for her to win. But here's the difference from Caitlin Clark last year to this year. She's got players on her team that are not going to let you knock her down. Let me tell you something. Sophie Cunningham she's Wolverine. Natasha Howard is not going for it. DeWanna Bonner doesn't look like she's scared of anybody. Aaliyah Boston, she's going to be tougher. This team is going to lead the league in technical fouls. I'm telling you. Because teams are not going to just be able to knock down Caitlin Clark this year. You do that this year, you're going to see somebody come over the top. Boom! It's going to be a crazy joint. And I'm here for it. If the Lord allows it, I'm here for it. So if you are not a WNBA fan, man, get ready. Because the Indiana Fever, and I'm sure other teams are going to be good as well, but get ready, famo. Caitlin Clark is winning the chip this year. Remember where you heard it first. When it happens, say the chubby dude, Kirk Kennedy's corner, Caitlin Clark is winning the WNBA chip this year. It's going to be crazy. I'm here for it. I hope you are. Like and subscribe to the channel. Grace and peace.